Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Behind the Veil. This is Stephen Williams. They call me the Good Bishop, and I want to take this moment to welcome you to Behind the Veil. It's going to be a good night tonight. Thank you so much to everybody for coming on in, and we're getting ready to. I have a marvelous guest tonight. And so we're going to talk about some stuff that y'all been wanting to talk about anyway. And so get your neighbor, get your friend, get everybody and tell them to come on in. I'm going to be talking to a good friend, well, a good college friend. Yes, sir. Her name is famous, even if she ain't famous yet. Her name is famous. Her whole name is going to be famous. And so I am excited to have her be a part of Behind the Veil. Again, Stephen Williams here. They call me the Good Bishop, but y'all know how we do this. This is our Behind the Veil get down on Tuesday. We've been doing this a long time, y'all. And we had some great conversation. And so tonight is really going to be good. I can't wait to make y'all mad and upset. And I'm going to give you her email address and all that good stuff so y'all can send it to her. So y'all can write her bad notes. Listen, y'all know how we do it. I got to play a song, and this is coming off of the Good Ground CD. This is called I Can Do All Things, and I just want to reiterate that yes, you can. There isn't anything you can't do. All things are possible for you. You can get it. You can do it. It is possible. It's yours. I'm telling you now, you can handle it, and everything is there for you to do it. Let's get to it. This is our song of the week. I want you to get down a little bit. It's just got a little groove to it. Y'all know it. We done heard it, but I had to play it tonight. Yeah. Let's turn it up. Get down. Here we go. Come on.
I can do all things.
Yeah.
I can do all things. I can do all things. Yeah. Through Christ that strengthens me. I can do all things. I can do all things. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Come on. I can do all things. Whatever. I can do all things. Whatever He wants. I can do all things. Through Christ that strengthens me. Say it again. I can do all things. Oh, I can do all things. Whatever He commands, I can do all things. Through Christ that strengthens me. Do what I'm told. I can do it. Oh, and I can reach my goal. Do it. His promise I can grab a hold. Hey, if you want me to walk right, I can do it. What about talk right? I can do it. And do the will with all my might. Yeah. I can do all things. Whatever. I can do all things. Whatever. I can do all things. Oh, whatever He wants. Christ is strengthening me. Hey. I can do all things. I can do all things. And with His help, I can do all things.
Thank you, Bishop Jerry Scott. Yes, sir.
I can do all things. I can see right.
My sister's here.
I can be right.
Cynthia is here. Dr. Reginald Too Sharp Coleman. Charlene.
What about forgive right? Hold on and stand still right. Hey. What about believe right? What about receive right? Pray on my knees right.
Cynthia Crawford.
I can do. Oh, yes, I can. I can do all things. Saying I can do all can praise right.
Yes, you can.
I can wait.
I got the right kind of guest tonight. She's going to tell you that you can do it all. Nothing is impossible. Hey, y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Lord, that's a good song right there. And that is a perfect one for tonight. Again, Stephen Williams, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on Behind the Veil. It is a wonderful, 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 wonderful thing. Listen, for those of you who want to hang out with us, if you would like to donate to all this good stuff, there's a Cash App right there. Ain't nobody playing. My guess, I'm glad she ain't famous yet, because Lord, if she had been famous, I'd have to send her a payment plan for her to come come on Behind the Veil. And so for those of you who can, there's a Cash App. Come on, support. Listen, don't forget, please, ma'am, please, sir, go on over there to the YouTube and subscribe to Behind the Veil. Please, ma'am, please, sir, get on YouTube. And I'm trying to, I think I'm changing that thing, because when I went out there to look at Behind the Veil, man, it was too much going on. So I'm going to make it so it's easy for you to get on. All right. But tonight, my guest is absolutely marvelous. Here we go. I love her name. I'm telling y'all now, I think she has one of them famous names. It ain't like Stephen Lovell. Her name is Glynis Bell. Glynis Bell. It's got a famous ring to it. Glynis Bell and Associates. And I love it. Is a native of Hillsborough, North Carolina. She is a 1991 graduate of mass communications of the mass communications department at Winston-Salem State University. Go Rams! Woo-hoo. She obtained an MS in consumer apparel and retail studies. I can't wait for us to talk about that at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro in May 2006. She has had an extensive career track, which includes local government, higher education, nonprofit, corporate, and retail management. She has been recognized for her community service efforts with leadership awards from the Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated and the Winston-Salem alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. In addition, she was recognized by the Mayor Pro Tem as an outstanding woman leader of the year in 2011. Glynis has a passion for fashion, and that's pretty good right there. In March of 2016, she published her first book entitled Fierce and Fabulous. And this is what we're going to talk about: a young lady's guide to inspiration and positive self-image. Arthur House Publishing. Glynis enjoys reading, shopping, and spending time with her family and friends. She is married to Larry and has 2 children, Kaylin and Isley. I got all that. And they're in college. We're going to talk about that, I guess. We'll talk about that a little bit. But can you all, please, ma'am, please, sir, welcome to Behind the Veil, I love it, Miss Glynis Bell. Let me undo all this and let's go. Thank you so much. How you doing today?
Hello, good evening, the good bishop. Good evening. How are you?
I am doing
the good bishop.
The good bishop. That's all they call him. They call him the good bishop. You know, that's about all I can do.
I'm gonna go along with that. We go back to Winston-Salem State University.
Yes.
The home of the Mighty Rams.
The Mighty Rams.
That is an awesome family. We are termed the Ram fam, and that's for a reason, because we are strong and we support each other, and this is a prime example of that. So thank you so much for the invitation tonight. Thank you. Ram to Ram. I love you.
I love you.
And ain't nothing you can do about it.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I am so excited that you would be a part of this, of the podcast. And for those who've been on it, and they know, we have some great conversations. And I use this platform, Glynis, to come out the pulpit. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is the mechanism where we talk about stuff that we can't really talk about in that 45 minutes of preaching where we're giving you the word of God, but there are so many other subject matters that we can discuss.
Yes.
And so tonight is one of those subject matters. And y'all, we're going to move kind of everywhere, but we got a specific theme. And I want you all to get your questions. And the first thing, one of the first things, I'm gonna let you all get your questions ready. But one of the first things we're gonna talk about, I need to know in the comment section, y'all send it in so I can put it up here so we can talk about it. How do you all feel about the bonnet wearing children where they got bonnets on everywhere? We're gonna talk about that. Just get your questions. Just get ready, and then we're going to take it from there. So Glynis, tell me, first of all, y'all, she has a degree in consumer apparel and retail studies. I want to know, what in the world? How did you even find a degree in consumer apparel and retail studies? And why did you want to get into that?
Well, I have always had a passion for fashion and a philanthropy and love of helping women. And one of the things, I guess that bio did not mention it, but in 2010, I started an organization here in Winston-Salem called Dress for Success Winston-Salem. And that was an organization that helped women to get back into the workforce if they had been out for any particular reason, if they were coming into it, if they were retooling for a different career. And it was a passion of mine to help those women look the part and give them the resources that they needed to go to work, to get promotions if they were underemployed, and to do well and succeed in life and in work. It was very important to me because to whom much is given, much is required. And I truly, truly feel that that is a piece of who I am and a passion for what I do. It's just giving people a hand up and never a hand out.
Now, have you always had that? I mean, was there something that happened? Because you always been jovial and outgoing, and you hardly ever meet any strangers
I don't.
that I know of.
I
And
don't.
but did you? I mean, was this something that happened to you after college that you had an encounter? Was there a moment that made you want to do this?
I had started looking at this organization in the year 2000. And at the time, there was somebody else in Winston-Salem who had expressed interest in it, and there couldn't be competing organizations. And
Oh,
so at that time, I just let it stay dormant. And then the opportunity presented itself for me to go ahead and move forward with starting the organization here and creating that type of organization in the community to help women. And I think it's something that has probably was in me. It's in my DNA,
mhm.
and it's something that I take a great pride in and enjoy doing. And even though I'm currently not involved in the organization directly, it is still up, it is still serving women, and it is still doing what I created it to do. And so my heart is happy that it is still up. And I'm still currently working in the nonprofit industry. So nonprofit is something that's close to my heart.
That's good. You know, I was just telling somebody I'm in this season of my life, believe it or not, and I got some stuff that's coming up that I'm going to share with all my Facebook friends. I'm telling y'all now, I'm going to need something, but I'm feeling philanthropic, where we need to be able to give back, um, and so back into the younger generation, or just be able to help people. And
Yes.
so I feel you on that. So,
Yes.
how did you find a degree in apparel and retail? And what is the degree in retail? And then we're gonna get to your book. But
So at the time, I felt like if I could get the education that supported my passion for fashion, that I would be unstoppable. And what it taught me to do is to be persistent, professionally persistent, is to not take a no for an answer. Sometimes higher education is about getting through the red tape that you need to get to the other side and to get that piece of paper. And so I had a great experience at UNC Greensboro. I think had I been younger and been in a bigger city, I would have gone to a design school like in New York, like Parsons University. But this degree taught you about research, it taught you about marketing, it taught you about what makes people buy, what they buy, what makes them loyal to a brand, and to understand the research and the quantitative and qualitative research behind some of those buying impulses or buying habits. And so I worked in retail for a while. And after I did my final paper in for graduate school, I went into work in retail, and then I worked at Hanes Brands in merchandising. So I kind of have three career tracks. I have a corporate career track that has to do with retail and corporate and Hanes Brands and merchandising, and then I have this nonprofit track. And so all along, it's a common thread that's weaved through, and that's just my passion for fashion, philanthropy for helping people, and just love for people. And you're right, I don't meet a stranger. Strangers are just friends that I have not met yet.
That's always been her policy, and it felt like in a way. So let me ask a side question. Why do we buy what we buy?
Say that again.
Why do we buy what we buy? Like, what did you learn?
I learned that people will buy because of the customer service that they receive. And I learned this: the same smile that you had when a person came into your store or establishment and purchased $1,000 worth is the same smile that you needed to have when they changed their mind or they went home and their husband said, take that back. You needed to have the same smile when they returned. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the same smile.
You got to put on
the same smile.
That is hilarious.
That you had when you put that in the bag and you took the receipt and you thought about your commission and you handed them that bag, and then the next day you saw them come back in with that bag. You had to put on the same smile. Hi there, Mrs. Smith. How can I help you?
Oh, that is so funny. That is so funny because people will bring stuff back.
They'll bring it back. They'll bring it right back.
And mess up your commission.
Mess it up and mess up your numbers and that same smile. Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month.
To all you people, stop taking that stuff back. Y'all see y'all messing up people's commissions. And so having all this passion. So she has this wonderful book. So this is where this all started. I saw her book on Facebook. I think the release of her book, and I was like, oh my God, Glynis Bell is an author. And I thought, man, she's famous already. Look at that. And so I wanted to go, and it was talking about being fierce and fabulous. And so before we get into that conversation, what made you want to write this book?
So it came from a place of the village. You know, it said it takes a village to raise a child. And I know that I had grandmothers and aunties and school teachers and church mothers and neighbors next door that helped me to become the woman that I am. They imparted something in me. And I realized that because today we have many fractured families, and so we don't have that familiar structure that we may have had. So that means that I need to take off my administrative hat and I need to be that teacher to help that next person to come along, to be the best that they can be. If you see them and they maybe present themselves or put on something for an interview that's not appropriate, if I'm doing the interview, then I take off my professional hat and say, hey, here's a tip. Here's something for you. But you have to be careful because nowadays people may not want that advice. So you have to be very careful. You have to be discerning with the spirit that's within you to be able to share that in a confident manner. And I think I was sharing with you a story. Many years ago, I went to the polls to vote. And it was Larry and I went to the polls. And when I walked up, there was a person that give you the hand out the flyers and things in for a candidate. And so there was a young lady out there, and she had on a wrap cap. The ladies out there will know what I'm talking about. It's if you wear your hair in a wrap style, it keeps it all together. So she had on one of those out passing out information for a voting candidate. And it disturbed me because I said, that candidate may not realize that who he has handing out the information is representing him and his brand and his election and his campaign. And so I went in to vote, and I contemplated whether or not I was going to say anything, because surely if I was the candidate, I may have wanted someone to say, you can't represent that person with this wrap cap on. It's
Right.
so I came out, and it just so happened that she was fumbling around with it. And I went up to her and I hugged her and I said, girl, your hair looks fine. You do not need that cap on. And she received it in the way that it was presented. And she said, I don't. And she just needed that validation. And I took a risk because I could have got cussed out for real.
Oh yeah.
But I did it in a way that I would have wanted somebody else, if that had been the same situation, to represent me. And so we are representing so many things. And I think if we know better, then we do better, but not always.
Now, no. So now this leads me to this whole thing. So Glynis and I wanted to have this conversation because as a pastor, I don't get a chance to talk about this in the pulpit, but I get to talk about it behind the veil, doggone it. And so, y'all, recently, I would say maybe 6 months ago, maybe something like that. Was it 6 months?
It hadn't been 6 months, maybe about 3 or 4, but time
Okay.
flies. So
Listen, they laid into Monique like I had never seen anybody turn. They turned on Monique. If you listening to this, baby, we sorry that they turned on you. They turned on you so hard. And it was all about this notion of a bonnet. And ever since then, I don't say anything because, the Me Too movement, I can't say anything. I just kind of wave at people and keep it moving. And maybe we're going to have a conversation about that and what that has done to dating. We're going to talk about that too. That's going to be another conversation. But she just spoke about when you go on a plane. I think when you go
it
on a
was in the
plane,
airport.
it was in the airport, and the women had on the bonnets, and then a lot of them still have on their pajamas. And I get it. You are going. You're probably gonna go to sleep, but that's the kind of stuff we would do early in the morning when we rode in our cars to go on a family trip. We're not being seen by anybody, maybe, but you're in the airport. And she gave an opinion, and I love Glennis. She was like, now, baby, auntie, aunt, I wish I could get her auntie. Auntie was,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, auntie, we need you to have several seats and
Several.
shut up. And I thought, man, she is right. So for those of you, I just want to know from a woman's point of view, because you talk about being fierce and fabulous. There is a disconnect if you feel like the bonnet makes you fierce and fabulous. That's my opinion. I think I have a different, and maybe I'm old school, but I wanted to know your thoughts on that whole bonnet issue and why did they kill her? And I don't know if it's a right or wrong thing. I mean, let's talk about it.
Well, it's a hot topic, and
It's a hot topic.
it's a hot topic. And I will say, and this is my opinion, in this particular instance, I agreed with Monique
Okay.
that there is a time and a place for the bonnet to be worn. And I have a personal pet peeve that when women, and they're not just young women, there are some moms and some grandmothers, that are coming out and they are wearing the bonnet. That I saw them at the mall yesterday. I see them in the grocery stores. I see them people driving in cars. And originally, the bonnet was designed to wear at night to protect your hair while you slept. And I do not know where the extension of wearing it during the day came from. And so I believe that you attract what you project. So if you project certain things, then that's what you'll receive. That's the energy that you'll receive. And so as a black woman, we get beat up on enough, and that was part of the conversation. But sometimes we just have to take a step above. We can't buy into that whole, when you present yourself as casual, you may get treated that way. And that's not the way we want to get treated.
Right.
We want to be treated like the queens that we were born to be. And so that's what Monique was saying. She was calling them queens. I think that there was a challenge in not what she was saying, but I think she came to them and she may have had on a robe, and she wasn't dressed her best at the time. So it may have been that at the time of the message, the messenger was not presenting
Oh,
herself in such a way. So it's a number of things that I think caused some
oh, was
backlash.
so was that the case? She wasn't fly going through
N-
because I didn't know. All I got was, man, my Twitter feed, my Instagram feed lit up, and I was like, "What in the world? Why is Monique?" Because Monique is, look, we've been struggling. We've been struggling with Monique because she's been going at everybody, and
yes,
and I thought maybe it was who came at them. You know,
I
if
think it might
Michelle
have been a
Obama had said this,
combination. I think it may have been a combination, but I think the overall thing is nowadays people don't like to be told what they can and cannot do, whether
here we
that's
go.
wear a mask,
Somebody
whether
said she was.
that's, protest certain things. I think that this is a generation where people do not like to be told that there's some resistance to authority. And that is that's an interesting thing. So I think the further away we may get from Big Mama in terms of a family structure and a anchor in our families, the more wilded out, if that's a word, we may be.
Now, so I have so many questions, and we've got to get to your book, but this is such a hot topic that I wanted to talk about it because I went to the gas station the other day and they were matching. The girl's bonnet was matching her jeans. I mean,
Mm,
she had on
mm.
some yellow jeans and she had on and a brown top, and she had on a brown and yellow bonnet when she stepped out of the car. I was like, wait a minute. So now we're making this a fashion statement. But why do you think? Well, cause see, everybody says this. Doggone it, Glynis, you got me.
I'm
Like,
sorry. I'm sorry, the good bishop. Go on ahead. Go on ahead.
listen, you got me asking some questions because we say, oh, it's because, um, the 40-year-old now uh, is still trying to be 30. So the big mama now, who would typically be 30 or 40, you know, she doesn't exist anymore because now that's Nana, that's Gigi. You know what I'm saying? That's grandma, where we thought Big Mama was old. When I grew
Mm-hmm.
up, Big Mama
Mm-hmm.
was old. But
Mm-hmm.
now Gigi or grandmama, it could be 45, she could be 40,
Right.
she could be as young as 30, I mean, as young as 35. It just depends on when she had her baby, right? And so, but I want to say they were having babies young. This ain't the first generation that was having babies young. So where is this disconnect? And I get what you're saying. Maybe people don't want to be told what to do. Is that the generation we're in? And are we just going to have to deal with this?
It's a quandary. It's a riddle wrapped in an enigma as to how it's going to be, how the outcome is going to be. But what I will share is that until we have more of the hiring power and the decision making power as a black and a brown people, what people don't understand they fear, whether that's natural hair, which is a whole nother conversation, whether it's bonnets, whether it's certain dress. And until that is totally acceptable and mainstream, then we're going to still get some resistance. And so if I know that a young lady is presenting herself in a way that is going to be restrictive or prohibitive in what her end goal is, if that's to get a job or to get a promotion, then I may have to step out of my comfort zone and share that. And again, it goes back to I may I may be met with some resistance or a cussing out, but when does each one reach one? And so I have a quick story, and I love to share this story. My college roommate, Dr. Deborah Richardson Bowie, Dr. D, was teaching in Ohio at a community college. And she had a day where high school students came in to present their resumes and do mock interviews and to talk about the college and learn and shadow and that kind of thing. And so it was a week-long activity. And so she had one young lady walk into her office, presented her with her resume, and she was dressed in a very short sequin dress. And this was for business professional. And so she said, I noted it, but I started looking at her resume, and her GPA was a 3.8, almost a 4.0. And so she asked her, she said, tell me what you're interviewing for today. She said, oh, I'm interviewing for an administrative assistant position. She said at that point, she took off her professional hat, and she has a daughter. I have a daughter. And she put on the mom hat, and she said, baby, let me tell you, you can interview for the president's position with this GPA, but you might want to think about this. And so she befriended her, and she mentored her in that moment. And so on Friday, there was a coming together of the parents of the students that were going through this program. And so the mother of this student came up to Dr. D and said, excuse me, are you Dr. D? And at that moment, she was like, I didn't know what was getting ready to happen. She said, I'm so-and-so's mother. And she said at that moment, she did not know whether she was going to get cussed out or just what. But at that moment, the mother came to her and said, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for mentoring her. She said, she shared with me what you said about a different choice of attire in that situation. And she said, I appreciate that. She said, because I helped her dress and I didn't know that. And so that was a huge light bulb moment for me, because if generationally you may not know some of these things, at what point is someone going to step in and be the teacher?
Now that's good. Now, because I was going to ask that question. Is it because you were talking about being in us being in positions to be able to hire people, but that led me to do they want to be hired? Do they know? Is it because of this that the mother doesn't know or didn't get the information?
Right.
Or is it because, and I hate calling names, but is it because what they see, like they see the entertainer.
Yes. Yes.
And the entertainer dresses a certain way.
Yes.
And that's their barometer for success. And it is not this level. And so I'm curious as to what women think, because we can't, as men, we can't say anything, at all. I mean,
at all.
When I tell you, if I see you with your bonnet on, I'm subject. I'm the good bishop, and I love the Lord, but I'm subject to take a good picture and laugh about you. But I ain't telling you.
Good bishop.
I can't say nothing, Glynis.
I think that as a mother and as a just a community, a lover of of women wanting to see people do better and to get to the next level and to be in some positions to make some of these decisions, we've got to step up our game, and we've got to do some things that may be unpopular with our friends and with modern culture. And I do believe, and I talked about this in the book, is that we have not mastered and learned disagreeing skills,
I
the
agree.
art of we haven't learned that, because
Yeah,
on reality TV,
yeah,
the person who gets the biggest fight and who pulls the hair and who does all that is the winner.
that's right.
But reality is not our reality sometimes,
Yeah.
and so we have
Somebody,
to realize that.
one of our guests, you can see this, can't you? They said that the disconnect is these young people think they know everything. My mama taught her 6 daughters not to come out the house with a scarf or a bonnet on your head years ago. To this day, we do not go outside with anything on our heads. You go ahead and you get yourself. Now, is that something you were taught, or is that something that's taught to all women? You got to understand, I mean, I'm a dude, and I do have a 10-year-old daughter, but I've never been a woman. And so I don't know what you all's rules are. Let's
Well,
talk about them.
let's go back to the disconnect, because the further away you get from Big Mama and the anchor of the family, and that person who
Yeah,
you know that you don't want to disappoint or you don't want to let down, it's the same thing with that authority figure. I think that there is a disconnect with having the further away we get from that, with Gigi or G Mama being 35 and baby girl being 20, and then baby girl being 1, who in that lineage may be teaching.
right, right, right.
um Whereas, again, my book was birthed that I had a village. I had that village. I had that Miss Jones at the church who, if you didn't have on a slip, which many people don't know what a slip is, a camisole
Yeah,
nowadays,
they
that's
don't.
old school.
That's old school.
um you didn't let your bra strap show. There were
Yep,
certain things that you just didn't do. You were taught that. um but I think there is some challenge with that now, that in my opinion, it doesn't make it right. My daughter, who is 22 now, several years ago, she was going to a concert, and she had selected an outfit, and she showed it to me, and I said, "Where you going in that?" And so I said, I tell you what. I said, "I want you to take a picture, and I want you to send it to both of your grandfathers. And I said, I want you to tell me what they said." And so she sent it to both the grandpas. And my father was not as calm as my husband's dad was in telling her, what are you thinking? And so it ended up that she didn't wear that. Um, but I think that it was just that you need the accountability of having other people to say, I, I may not want to do that,
got you.
and to respect that, and to
Yeah,
respect that person.
because when I did not know that. So somebody said this. So they said here was the problem with Monique, that she was in a hotel room in lounge wear. She was in a hotel room in loungewear. And so, is there a disconnect with us being the example? Do what I say, don't do what I do. You remember that old, and so now the G mamas, man, they talking about the new 60 is the new 40. I'm like, it's still 60, and the new 50, is the new 30. No, it's still 50. And and I get we want to strive to be, take better care of ourselves, but is the disconnect in the messengers?
So, it's interesting that you said something about the messengers. As a person who is going to church, you may not always agree with the minister or the
Right,
messenger, but I need to hear your message.
right.
And sometimes you may have to disregard the messenger and be able to extrapolate who the messenger is from the message in order to get it. And that's a difficult place.
It is. We talk about that, and that's Now, that's one. You'll notice behind the veil, I'm real laid back. So we're just having a good conversation. All right. This is why I get in trouble, but this is why people, this is why people like me too, because it is difficult. People say, the preacher, he or she should make sure they're living up to standard, da 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 da. And I am a proponent of that. But the same way I think I want people to view the preacher, I need you to also to view the policeman, and I need you to view the judge, and I need you to view the doctor. Don't give anybody a break. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to do that.
Mhm.
And I think in the church, there's a disconnect, because we hear the preacher say one thing in the message, but then we see the preacher doing something totally different.
Right.
And it creates, this is where we are having a challenge inside the house,
Yes.
which is why I wanted to do this behind the veil thing, because it's now outside the house.
Mhm.
Now I know some 50s and 60-year-olds who they couldn't have looked at themselves when they walked out the door, because the stuff is so tight, the stuff is so short, the cleavage is so low. And so you want to talk to us and complain about your daughters and your granddaughters. And I'm like, well, boo, like, you're the example, and you can't be part-timey with your example. And I think that's what I'm having a problem with. But again, the bonnet is just, they killed Monique, and they still killing her
Yes.
to this day.
Yes. And so what I would say on that is, understand the message that and the way it was given. The messenger may not have presented, she wasn't fly and dressed up when she presented the message, but she came to them from a genuine place.
Yes.
And was complimentary in, I want you to be queens. I see you as queens, but if you present yourself in this way, it may be counterproductive to what you're trying to do.
2 questions.
1,
do they know the definition of being a queen?
It's subjective.
Second question, has the situation with Monique, and I'd love to know this with the audience, caused you all to have pause in trying to help that generation? Because it's one thing to try to help, but they really came at her. And does that cause you pause, or are you willing to take the stings, if you will? Or do you just do it within your circle, or when the opportunity presents itself, instead of how she did it?
I think that it depends on how thick your skin is and how passionate you feel about it. My example of doing it at the voting polls, I have also, with the book, I have talked to young ladies in middle school. Another one of my personal pet peeves is wearing pajamas out in public. And I had some middle school students telling me why they could.
Oh, yeah.
And why it was okay.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I think it goes back to a lot of things starting in the home, and we're facing some big challenges, and so it just depends on what your personal passion is. I think that we all have the opportunity to each one reach one. It just depends on how far we feel like going, and how far we can go. Back in the day, if Miss Jones saw you doing something wrong, she would discipline you. She would call your mother, and when you got home, you got disciplined again. But now it's don't say nothing to my child.
Right. You can't do that.
Right.
Well, Camille says, I'm a 50-year-old mother and nana, and I teach my daughter, granddaughter, and nieces how to dress presentably at all times, no matter where they're going. I like this conversation from Aisha. It says, what Monique was wearing was appropriate for her setting. and she is a little younger. She's one of those millennials. And she says, my generation is analytical enough to find a single flaw in the messenger in order to reject the message.
Wow, you better say that. That was powerful.
That's good stuff.
That was powerful.
Because they look for the single flaw.
The single flaw. Woo.
And they just kill in the messenger, and they just kill the message altogether.
You heard about the killing the messenger. They killed the messenger dead.
Listen.
But the message is still worth hearing.
I think it is. And I think there is such a, oh man, you know what I miss? I miss that part. I miss that part of women. And I don't want to be sexist or anything. Please don't write me and don't send me no emails. I don't pay attention to them anyway.
Good bishop.
I really don't. Because what I found out is that these people will, people are what they would say to you behind the computer, they would never say to you in your face. And so I'm not, I have just a message. I miss the elegance of the lady. I love that part of ladies and women. I love their elegance and how they move and how they sway and how they hold their hand and how they move the hair just ever so slightly. All of that is how we were taught, as men. Like, that's elegance, that's classy, it seemingly is missing in our society. And maybe because women have to play a different kind of role, I don't know. But I miss the lady. I miss that whole elegance. It's always been something that I enjoyed coming up. And you could distinguish who was really like super ladylike. And then everybody, I want to hang out with the boys, and I want to be this. But I was like, there was just something different about ladies. And I think, I don't know where it disappeared and what happened and how do we get there? I don't know. Anyway, that's my little rant.
That's your rant. You stepping down off your soapbox?
Yeah, I'm stepping down off the soapbox because I don't want to. Don't be calling me. So you ended up all of this. You ended up writing a book, and it is fierce and fabulous, and a young lady's guide to inspiration and positive self-imaging. Now, why in the world did you want to make it fierce and fabulous? Let's make them go buy. I need y'all to go buy the book.
So the book is an A to Z guide, and it's actually alphabetically A to Z. The capital letter in the alphabet is a hint or a tip, or actually it's motivation, the capital letter. And the lowercase letter throughout the alphabet is a hint or a tip. Oh. And so I tell you what, give me a letter.
No. Because I'm going straight to your very first thing. I think is crucial. A, because it says always have an honest friend in your circle and a full-length mirror in your house. When I saw that, I was like, what the what? Because a part of this is what's missing. There are no honest friends in the circle. And I declare they done broke the mirror in the house.
They don't have one. They don't have a full-length mirror. I think it's important to have a full-length mirror so you can see yourself from head to toe. And an honest friend, at one point when we were in college, you may remember there was one person who might have been looking a mess, but there was somebody that said, girl, you ain't going with me looking like that.
Oh yeah. Y'all used to.
You got to change.
Yeah, y'all used to have me check.
Now, if everybody in the group is looking like that, then it's acceptable. Or is it?
Or is it? Or is it? All right. So we getting ready to play this game, y'all. Y'all ready? I got my next letter. let's just go to the letter E.
E. Let's see what we have to
Let's see
say
what
about
we
E.
have in E. All right.
Okay.
If y'all want a letter, shoot a letter in the comments and we'll let her pick out an E. Let's go. Let's go.
So E, the capital letter is exercise your right to fashion freedom within limits. You don't have to be a fashion clone, and you don't have to be the one who stands out in the crowd for the wrong reasons. It is true that we come in different shapes and sizes. The beautiful thing is that our master pattern maker knew what he was doing when he created us, thank goodness. He didn't create all of us alike. What a boring place that would be. While you're exercising your right to fashion freedom, exercise your body. No matter what shape you're in, it's never too late to make sure that you take care of your body and look and feel your personal best. A little activity each day can make a big difference. Whatever physical activities you are doing, make it a part of your daily routine. Put down the remote control and walk around the block. Plug in your earbuds and dance. Go to the park and swing. Enjoy and in doing whatever it is, because nothing that you can put on your body can ever replace taking care of your body. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And then the lowercase letter is exceptions to every rule. And that talks about Lady Gaga and Nicki Minaj's moms. They were glad when they made it into the entertainment business and were able to make money for their choices in fashion and entertainment creativity.
I love it. Go to H because H is really good too. And I'm not. I mean, I'm selling this because what she's saying is this is some good stuff that I think would benefit the women. But go ahead, go to H.
Let me find H. Okay, it says haters should be your elevators and your motivators. According to the online Urban Dictionary, a hater is a person who develops a strong dislike for another solely based on their opinion or personal judgment rather than objective merit. A hater's contempt commonly arises from jealousy and or resentment. Additionally, the word hater is frequently overused, mainly in the rap and hip hop communities. In life, you will have people who don't like you because of what you wear or how you talk, where you live, or for reasons for which you may not even be aware. There will be haters, there will be doubters, there will be non believers, and then there will be you, proving them wrong every step of the way.
I'm loving it. Look. I'm going through it now. Because I looked at it and I was like, these are good. Uh,
Now,
uh,
let me ask you this. There's one part in here which is one of my favorite parts, and it falls under the letter S.
S.
S,
Let's go to
S
S.
is S is long, but it says Sunday best. I heard a
Because I wanted you,
comedian.
before you go to S,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
wanted you to go to K because I wanted you to speak on this because I think this is a crucial part that gets to your S, gets to the S.
Okay. K. Know your body type.
Know your body type. Because I think a large part of where you're being fierce and fabulous, I'm our people taught their body type so that because sometimes I see people who are a 16 in a 6,
Mm-hmm.
wanting to be in a 6. Y'all didn't know I knew all this stuff, but see, my mama, I had to help my mama. See, I had to help my mama. I had to help my mama, and I know about that when you go from 18, and then she went to a 20, and then she went down to a 16, and then 12, and then 8. I mean, I pay attention because I'm nosy, but I'm finding out
The good
people,
bishop is
the
nosy. You
good
just
bishop
said it.
is nosy.
So,
And I'm saying, do people know their body type? And how do you get people to understand that everything you see is not everything you should wear?
so in the book, and I don't know what letter it is under, it says just because it is in the fashion magazines, just because it's on the runway, just because they make it in your size, it's on sale, and they have it in the stores in the season's color, does not mean that you have to have it in your closet. And so what that's saying is, in terms of knowing your body type, is knowing what works for you.
Yeah.
And there may be some things that a person who is a size 6 could wear that may not look good or may not be as perfect on a size 16, but
Right.
that doesn't mean that you can't create your own style.
Exactly.
And so you have to have some creativity, and you may have to go against the norm. Um, I am a huge thrifter. I love thrift and I love vintage. And you will find me in Goodwill. You will find me down at the Mission, because one man's junk is another person's treasure.
Right.
And so you don't have to spend a whole lot. It's not about the name brand that's on there, it's about how you present yourself in it. I have stepped out in some things that I got right off the dollar rack over at the Mission, had it dry cleaned and put it on, and I wore it like I got it off the designer
Oh
showroom
yeah.
floor.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's all about your attitude, and it's about understanding what works on you, what looks good on you. And it's about having some flexibility and some creativity. It's not about the number. Don't get caught up in the number that's in the,
Right.
don't get caught up, because one designer's 8 is another designer's 18.
Right.
So it's, you can have everything from extra small to extra large in your closet. It just matters how you feel in it.
Yeah. And I think that becomes crucial. I want to do a. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna do a session
What you gonna do a
that
session on?
I want to know why is it that people got saved and forgot to be with their husbands sexy?
Okay, that's a
What?
whole nother show, good
That's a
bishop.
whole nother show
That's a whole nother
because
show.
it's a matter of mentality. Don't lose your femininity just because you gain salvation, in my mind.
Yes.
And know your type, know who you are. And you can do that without becoming, look at me trying to be a fashion person.
Look
You
at
can
you.
do that without being, can I say, you can do that without being slutty. You can look up elegance, it still exists. And so you have to, to me, it's a mind, it's a conscience thing. And I think people forget it, that they're human just because they love Jesus. And I think people need to go, but that's a whole nother thing. Let's go to S, because I'm messing up my show. I'm messing up my show. S. You wanted to
So
go to S.
so that kind of goes along with it a little bit. It said Sunday's best.
I got you.
I heard a comedian say that things have surely changed when the club has a dress code, but the church says, come as you are.
Wait, time. Wait a minute. Say it again. Say it
I'm going to say
again.
that one more time.
Say it one more
I
time.
heard a comedian say that things have surely changed when the club has a dress code, but the church says, come as you are. In my opinion, come as you are has gone too far. I grew up in a small Baptist church in Hillsborough, North Carolina. It was the one place where you were expected to be on your best behavior unless you wanted to really get it when you got home. I remember one of the elders of the church, Miss Gaddis, always praying the prayer, we are not here for any outside show. I eventually came to understand what she was saying. That goes along the same lines as come as you are, just as you are, which means that you don't have to have the finest clothes, the biggest hat, or the blingiest jewels to come into the church. Come with what you have, and Jesus will meet you right where you are. I too believe in coming just as you are, but I feel that the church is a sacred place, and a certain amount of respect for God, oneself, and others should be taken into consideration when entering his home. This includes how we dress.
Yeah, but I'm with you on that, and I'm gonna let you have you. I want you to go to you, and because that's gonna don't go there now, but that's gonna be a thing I want you to go into. But I think there's a challenge and a disconnect with me in being not knowing that you are fierce and fabulous at the house, which is what's happening at the church. But it's also, you're not fierce and fabulous at the airport. you're not fierce and fabulous anymore when you go to Walmart. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That somewhere there is a disconnect, and I don't know. I don't want to call it generational as much as I want to just say, um, is it a part of the times? I don't know. I wish I knew, because I have a 9-year-old, about to be a 10-year-old daughter, and I started over. And I'm really trying to make sure that she understands. And I tell her every night, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're strong. Um, I'm sitting up and I'm reinforcing what I want her to be.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a
Mm-hmm.
hug. And then when she give me that little sorry hug, I said, that ain't no hug. Come here, give me a real hug. And we laugh and we joke because I want her to see that you're beautiful even when you don't have on a gown. You're beautiful, but it's how you carry yourself. It's how you respond. And I think
Yes.
that's a part of responsibility. Let me ask a question.
Okay.
I know it's woman to woman. That was a song back in.
Yes.
You ain't you don't know
I know about that.
that. Did is the father a part of this missing link as to why you're getting this generation? Is there an absence of this? Because the first thing you said was send that picture
Mm-hmm.
to your grandfathers.
Yes. Yes. So what I think is it's two things, and it could be misconstrued as so. If a man tells you that you look good in something, then he may be telling you for the wrong reasons, but that may say, so and so, whom I really like, said that I look good in X, Y, and Z. And that may create a mindset of, if he says that I look good in this. The other thing is that sometimes women don't dress for men, they dress for other women. You
Okay,
have to dress for yourself.
I
You
was about to
have
say,
to be.
let's unpack that.
So I worked in a place where I may not have seen anybody all day long. I may work in an office where I don't go out and I don't see the public, but I see me when I get up in the morning. And so I want to make sure that if I see me in the grocery store or I see me on the street, that I'm pleased with that and I'm okay with that. And so it's just, it doesn't matter. A lot of people say, well, I work in a call center and I don't see anybody. I'm on the phone all day. Well, I see me. And that matters to me. It's a mindset. So I think you said that it's totally a mindset of how we see and present.
Because I wonder, I'm trying to make sure I'm in what we call an impact player, not only to young men, but also, to my daughter, um, making sure she understands trying to give her something to look for, um, you know, a model, if you will. I
But
don't
it's
know.
also about love and acceptance. It's
I
it's
agree.
also about love and acceptance. We, because we all were created in a different way.
Yeah.
It makes us unique, and we have to take that uniqueness and embrace it. And it's nothing like being loved for who you are,
Yeah.
authentically
Yeah.
and naturally, and being able to share that. And I think that is something that resonates with our young people, is if they have blue hair, they're still beautiful. it,
Yeah.
it doesn't it doesn't mean that it may not mean that they can wear the blue hair to an interview, because that may not be appropriate. But if that's your thing, then embrace that. It's a right place to be able to do certain things. And so we don't have to snuff out our creativity in what we do, but it's just to know when it's appropriate and when it may not be as productive as we want it to be. It's knowing the difference.
I'm getting ready to ask another question.
You and
Oh,
these questions.
girl, I got so many of them. Have we become antiquated for this generation? See, when you come behind the veil, this the kind of stuff preachers don't usually ask. But I think they talk about it, right? But they talk about it behind the veil, but they don't want to talk about it openly because they don't want anybody to be offended. This is why we have this platform, because generations, this young generation is like, well, that's just the old way. I want to wear my blue hair. Hire me with my blue hair. That's who I am. Because you made that statement, maybe it's not appropriate in this particular setting. Maybe it's not appropriate in that particular setting. But does that resonate with this millennial generation? Because it seems like they saying, no, just take me as I am. I don't want to sit in your rule in any capacity.
And that is what we're hearing. But what I will say is that I had the opportunity to teach at Forsyth Tech interpersonal psychology, which is interpersonal skills to millennials, as well as a class at UNCG at their business school, teaching freshmen who are just coming in. And I enjoy being in the classroom, and I learn as much from the students as I'm sure that they learn from me. But I'll go back to natural hair, for example, and what I said earlier. If we're not in a capacity to be able to hire, and that there's someone who does not look like
Yeah.
us in the hiring or in the granting us graduate school entrance or granting us whatever we're presenting to them, if it is something that they don't understand, they fear it. So if someone comes in with natural hair or with dreadlocks or with locks, it may be something that is accepted in our community, but if it is not understood, it is not accepted there. So you may have to get into a company, prove your skill set, get your check, get your benefits, get your experience, and then they cannot question your hair because they know your ability.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Yeah, I understand it. I applaud you. I think your book is awesome.
Thank
I
you.
think it has simple guides that I think if people would read it, it is called Fierce and Fabulous by Glynis Bell, and her face is sitting up on it. And
And I did that in the very back of the book. You will see another sketch that was supposed to be the cover.
uh,
And then when I dug a little deeper into it, I said, you know something, I want young black and brown girls to see somebody on the front cover that they can do this. They can write a book, they can do a movie, they can do whatever it is they want to do. Um and I wanted it to resonate. It could have prevented some people from picking it up, but I
right,
took a risk with that, and I said I want to do this because it's it's not about me, it's about each one reach one. I want somebody else to see that they can do it too.
yeah, yeah. I think it is absolutely wonderful, and you all should go get it. I actually like that picture too. It's a cute little picture at the end. It's
And
that
and and I had to share that because it's a part of the process. It was a part of the creative process, and knowing that this is what I originally thought, but in the process I grew, and this is what it came to be.
and right.
But it was still worth sharing.
Yeah. So I want you to go to you. I'm purposely. I wanted to make sure that you went to you because I think I'm gonna let you have this final moment on this you because I think this right wouldn't this be a capsulization, if you will, of where we are tonight. So
Our
this
culminating experience is
our
going to be with
culminating experience.
you. It says, uncover a beautiful you. You may have heard the expression, a diamond in the rough. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, this means someone or something that has hidden exceptional characteristics and or future potential, but currently lacks the final touches that would make them truly stand out from the crowd. The metaphorical definition relates to the fact that naturally occurring diamonds are quite ordinary at first glance, and their true beauty as jewels is only realized through the cutting and polishing process. Wow, that says so much about our inner beauty that we often don't realize that we have. Just as we uncover beauty within ourselves, we can also discover and uncover what treasures can be found at local thrift and consignment stores. I love thrift shopping. I have found amazing items that I enjoy wearing. I smile to myself when someone pays me a compliment because I know what a steal of a deal it was. Many items are new with tags on them from stores where I would never be able to pay full price. Looking fabulous doesn't have to break your bank. Be open to shopping at alternative places that can help you remain unique, and you can save money at the same time. Plus, you may have a little fun discovering a hidden treasure. One of my favorite hidden treasure items was from Tracy Reese, an African American designer. I have long admired her craft and talent as a designer, but never thought I would be able to purchase any of her designs. One day while thrifting in one of my favorite thrift stores, I came across a Tracy Reese dress. It still had the original tags on it from an upscale retailer. I was so excited that I was able to snag a designer price piece of for a fraction of the cost. But when I wore the dress, I wore it like I bought it full price off Tracy Reese's showroom floor.
I love it. I love it. You all find that uncover the beauty in you. I'm glad you are doing what you're doing, helping the generation with your philanthropic, never meet any stranger self. Uh, Bubbly. She is bubbly at Walmart as she is at,
At wherever you find me.
at where at church, at the
At
cotillion,
work.
at
Hmm.
work, wherever you see Glynis Bell. Um, she is always this person. How do you do it? How do you stay on, if you will? If that's a question, if you understand my question, how do you
You
keep it?
people are hurting in this world, and you never know what somebody is going through. So I want to be a light. I want to be that positive light. If I can help somebody, I call myself a style and a smile strategist. If I can help you
Ooh,
find your style and help you smile at the same time, then I have done my job.
that's
And
good.
as I stated earlier, to whom much is given, much is required. And I know that somebody took a chance on me. They took me under their wing, and they saw the best in me. And
Yeah.
so I want to make sure that I see the best in other people, and that I am that light, because that may be the only light that they see.
You got a 10-year-old, 10 to 20-year-olds in a room. It's about 300 of them. You are the speaker. This is the final word that I want you to give to them. Tell these ladies what?
Treat yourself like you are the prize that is underneath the glass, that is behind the glass. You need to take yourself off of the clearance rack, and you need to put yourself in the glass, because that's where the valuables are kept. So don't ever forget your value, and to forget that you are valuable, and that you are loved, and that you have an obligation to love yourself, and to be that light for other people.
Take yourself and put yourself in the glass.
That's where people have to have a key.
Oh, Glennis.
They got to unlock it. You know when you go and you say, "Excuse me, can I see that?" They said, "Let me get the key."
Let me get the key.
Uh-huh. Because you're valuable.
Oh God. Glennis, I love it. I, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna have to, that's gonna be my mantra to my daughter. put yourself in the glass, the place
Behind the
where they
cabinet.
have to go get the key,
They got to get the key.
unlock you. That's where the valuables are. This was absolutely, don't you go nowhere. This was absolutely worth it tonight for my friend, Fierce and Fabulous. Y'all go check her out, get her book, download the book. I have this song, it's called Good Ground. And I just want you to know that's what you are. You are good ground. And I want to thank you so much, Glynis. I know it, Coleman, ain't that crazy? I'm going to put myself in the glass and you're going to have to find the key to unlock me because I'm too valuable to be out here. Ooh, Glynis, girl. If you hear it again, I don't give out offers.
That's okay. I'll borrow. I'm gonna send you a bill.
Listen, everybody, you're a good ground. Listen, thank you for joining me. I'm Stephen Williams. They call me the Good Bishop. Thank you for joining me behind the veil as we talked about being fierce and fabulous with Glynis Bell. Go get her book. And so we're going to do great things. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and making me some good ground tonight, girl. If I don't take nothing else, I'm going to put myself in the glass.
The good bishop is going to put himself behind the glass.
I'm going to put myself behind the glass because the valuable stuff is in the glass. And they need a key to unlock you. God, this was great stuff. Thank you all so much for joining us. I've taken up a lot of her time tonight, but this has really been good.
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you.
Go get her book, y'all. There's some good stuff in there. I love it. I appreciate y'all. Until our next appointed time. I have no clue what I'm doing next Tuesday, but this was this was awesome. This was awesome. So please, ma'am, please, sir, go out and support her. Fierce and Fabulous, Glynis Bell. Go get her book. And it is alphabetical stuff. And she's giving you some nuggets so that you can be better and be the best you. And if you don't do nothing else, take yourself off that rack and go put yourself behind that glass because the valuable stuff is back there. They got to get a key. Y'all, we got to go. Love you guys. Thank you. Join me next week. Next appointed time. We'll see each other. Thank you for joining me behind the veil. Bye, y'all.